there, you're listening to Linda Pinizzotto of the Condo Expert, and we're getting some fantastic information about the International Home and Garden Show that's actually going to be in downtown Toronto from March the 6th to the 9th, and I'm actually speaking with Paul Newdick, who is the show manager. You know, Paul, you mentioned Green Street. I found that really fascinating because, you know, I think anytime that we can sort of give out more information on ecological living is such a key factor considering where we are today. You know, I mean, like there's been all sorts of questions out there as to whether or not environment is changing. I mean, look at the snowstorms and the ice storms that we've had this year. That's kind of unheard of. We haven't had this kind of weather in quite some time. So I think that, you know, there's so many things that are happening that I think a lot of people really need to step forward and constantly consider, you know, keeping our air fresh and clean, bringing in an element of green. There's a ton of condominiums that are all moving towards that direction now as well.
Well, more and more condominiums and office buildings are going to green roofs. So that's where they can take the energy from the sun and grow. If they don't have solar panels, they will grow greenery on the roof, which also produces oxygen. And that helps also keep the temperature of the city down because, you know, what happens in the summertime, the heat's absorbed by all the asphalt and concrete, and that really heats up the city further so that people have to turn up their air conditioning. And so by, I guess, promoting the word about economizing through green living strategies, you really become part of the solution as opposed to part of the problem. And it's really something that we're just on the cutting edge of right now, but it's coming and growing in tremendous ways. And I think the green movement has been derailed a little bit with the economy because it's not inexpensive to become green. But there are things you can do that, you know, such as turning down your thermostat at night and keeping it a little bit on the warmer side than on the cooler side in summer. And these are all the things that we can all do to help. Really, I think whenever the economies in the world heat up, that really kind of puts a threat and a stress on green living. And as the economies ebb and flow a little bit and recede, I think that opens up the opportunity for more green living strategies and for us to, I guess, reverse some of the damage that we've done for the planet.
Well, absolutely. And, you know, it's an interesting side because, you know, sometimes you think, okay, if we're talking about the International Home and Garden Show, now we're talking about green living and so on. I don't think sometimes people put certain things together. You know, they walk through the door and they'll start looking at maybe high efficiency, window coverings or windows or that type of thing, not realizing, like, you know, if I take condominiums for examples, you know, steam cleaning. Sometimes we'll find that boards will actually not steam clean their carpet throughout the year because they're trying to keep their costs down. What they don't realize is how much damage they're actually doing to the carpeting. And, you know, and the fact that while you're saving one way, you're spending it another. So I think that even when you're looking at fresh and clean incentives, and whether it be, you know, with respect to cleaning or dry cleaning or stain removals and all those type of things, you're looking at environment, you're looking at energy savings with changing your lights, for instance, you know, and have more of a energy efficiency on your lighting because your hydro costs are so long. These are so many features that you can learn about when you go. So this is actually opened up even to corporate people. For instance, if they are property managers and they're working in condominium sites, or even if they're in commercial plazas, for instance, all relaying it's good to get this kind of information.
Well, I think it's essential. I think it's essential, and I think it's the way costs of living and costs of maintenance and maintaining these buildings continues to increase. It's really a way to offset some of that cost, some of that increased cost. So it's really something we all can do, and it's something that I wish governments would get more and more involved with, although I think they are doing it in their ways. But it is something that is going to, I guess, preserve better living in your own home world and also out in the business world as well. So it's really something that we've got to really, it's not a fad, it's something we have to manage for the rest of our lives, really.
Well, this is it. Because, it's funny because brand new condominiums, for instance, when they are built, of course, timing is key. The quicker they can get it built, the quicker they can get people moving into it, the better they are because then they can register the building and move forward.
Yeah.
So during that interim, there's a lot of things that may not be completed yet. For instance, like the carpeting in the corridors or maybe some of the equipment rooms, the gyms, saunas, recreation facilities, amenities, those type of things. Those are always the last on the list. And interesting enough, there is times where you have to have concrete. It has to cure it over a certain period of time just to make sure that there's still no moisture in the concrete because concrete is porous, and if there's too much moisture, it'll actually seep into the carpeting, and next thing you know, the flexibility of the carpeting becomes tampered with, and you could have buckling of your carpeting within the next couple of years. And that is a major expensive point. So I know, interesting enough, when I was going through your site after you actually invited me to come and speak at the show, I wanted to go through the site to see what kind of pieces would relate to condominiums. And I was really floored because you've got like 3/4 of your show that actually do. The only thing that didn't slightly, is pool and patio, only because it's not really directly related to the owner. It's more related to the condo corporation, like the board of directors, because it would be a common area. But everything else are easily things that could be decision process making for an actual condo owner that they could bring into their home, whether or not they, decide that they want to replace their, kitchen, or they want to get new decorative type of things throughout their units. I mean, there's a whole vast amount of things that they could do.
Well, even with their balconies and their solariums, a lot of them are getting into container gardening, solarium gardening, patio solarium furniture. So there's a lot of, integration that can happen with an interaction that can happen with some of our green and outdoor living and patio type exhibitors. And for those that do live in condos, I know they're space challenged, but sometimes their balcony is really their outdoor getaway. So they really turn it into their urban oasis, if you will. So there's great ideas that exchange at these kinds of shows. And that's why we try to make them as very broad-ranging as possible so that we can give everybody insight into many different things.
And you actually brought in a new section there, Home Away from Home. Now, was that something that you offered last year as well at the International Home and Show, or is that more of a new concept for this year?
Well, it's being re-evolved this year and re-engineered. We have an modular home. We have a log cabin, maybe 2 log cabins coming in. We have some motor homes. We have really just ways and means and other rural builders that would provide opportunity for people that want to get out of the city, and they may be weekend warriors, and they may want to go to their cottage or their motorhome or their or a vacation property. So really, it offers kind of a getaway area that people can really come and learn and shop and compare different values and different lifestyles for their recreational living needs.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes, they get caught up. It's the same old thing when you go shopping, because you're not at your, maybe your cottage or something all the time, especially with our winter months. It's not going to be as frequent as it might be during the summer months, only because of the weather and so on. But interesting enough, a lot of people just start thinking about their principal residence. And this gives them a great venue in order for them to almost match the two, because they can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, shop at the exact same place for the similar kind of items, but more geared towards residential versus, like you said, a home away from your home, especially when it comes to international. It said here local, national, and international. So is there an entity as well as far as the international side of things?
Well, we have American exhibitors. We have some European exhibitors. We have some Italian furnishing type exhibitors. So really it gives you kind of a world-class viewing of different lifestyles and different products that can be had around the world. And of course, Metro Convention Center is very cosmopolitan, so it's the right facility for. Really, it just kind of opens one's eyes to different lifestyles from around the world. It's something that I think people are now becoming more and more reinvested in when they travel and they're looking at second homes, and I think they're the economy is improving to that effect. So people are now a little more interested to move and grow and buy second homes.
Well, you're 100% right. It's funny because I was looking at one. It was butterflies and bugs.
Yes.
I thought that was really, for the children. I mean, all fun for the kids.
Well, that is great for the kids. And
it's terrific.
There's giant butterflies and
I know.
giant bugs, and they're all from the rainforest. And, of course, the rainforest is the biggest garden in the world. So it provides really not only education, but kind of an awe-inspiring view into what life is in the tropics.
Well, it's funny because they had one that had Orkins Canada Proudly Presents The Incredible World of Bugs. I was actually looking at the picture of it all. Oh my God, some of those look big.
Oh, they are bigger than your than your hand.
Yeah. So now people, actually everybody, like our entire Canadians, can appreciate that we're fortunate that we may not have some of these things floating around.
Well, it'd be nice if we did, but there's a resurgence of monarch butterflies. That's a good thing around here.
Oh, absolutely. No, 100%. Well, we'll take for a break for a moment. It's Linda Pinizzotto at the Condo Expert, and I've been speaking with Paul Newdick, and he's the show manager of the International Home and Garden Show. We will be right back.
Linda Pinizzotto. She's not your typical realtor. She's your real estate counselor, teacher, and advisor. Whether it's a house, townhome, or condo, when you're ready, she's your negotiator. With 34 years of experience, Linda guarantees that you have the real estate knowledge you need to make the right decisions. Call Linda Pinizzotto at Sutton Group Quantum Realty, 416-561-7373, or visit her at lindapinizzotto.com.